So like I said, we're going to work on some problems with dilation, some problems with similarity. We'll throw a couple of subdividing line segments in there, and we'll do a few problem solving with trigonometry. I just want everybody to put it in the chat right now. Which of these topics, which of these 3 topics do you feel the best on? Okay, Tyrone says dilations, trig. Couple trigs. So anybody feel like similarity is their strong suit? No? Okay. So I just want to know because now I can focus on that one the most. Okay, starting with, I kind of put them all in random order. So what I did is I put together a few questions and they're not really in any order, and that's good because that's what tests are like, right?
Miss, are you talking?
There we go. I don't know why my mic connected to my AirPods, which are not even open right now. Okay, we're good. We're good. All right, so first one. Which of the following is not true? Select all that applies. So start taking a look. And actually, I want to just do polls as we go through today, because polls are a really good way to know, to get a sense of how people feel. Now it is select all that apply actually. So let me do the multiple choice poll. Okay, there you go. Now you can choose more than one answer. Okay, I have 3 answers in. Take about 1 more minute. Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, somebody chose F because they thought they were funny, but I'm not laughing. Okay, so all right, we got kind of answers all over the place. Yeah, let's go over this one because y'all are not quite right. Let's take a look. Which of the following is not true? Not true. Which of these is false? First one, CDB is what's this again? What does that mean? Similar to ABC. Okay, is that true? Is CDB similar to ABC? So here's CDB. That one's 90. Here's ABC. This one's 90. Are they Are they similar? So how do we check for similarity? What has to be true? The sides are proportional. Angles are congruent. Okay. So do we have at least two congruent angles? No, we have one. Only one. What about angle B? Isn't angle B congruent to itself? Oh yeah, okay, so we have two. Angle B is congruent to itself, so we do have similar triangles, right? These two are similar to each other, but read the way that the similarity statement is written. Is it in the correct order? Is CDB congruent to ABC? No. How would this need to be written in order to be true? So let me keep the first one the same. CDB would be similar to nope. Wait, CDB, yeah, no. ACB, that is correct. ACB. Tyrone said that? I didn't see that. Oh yeah, he did. I'm sorry. I didn't notice it. Okay, so they did not write it in the correct order, so this is not true. So I am circling it because we're looking for the ones that are not true. So they are similar, just not in that order. Questions on A? Okay, B. Let's look at B. B is claiming that AD squared plus DC squared equals AC squared. So they're looking at this triangle right here, which is a right triangle. And they're claiming that, okay, AD squared plus DC squared equals AC squared. What equation or what special equation is that? Pythagorean theorem. Good. That is Pythagorean theorem. Is it correct? Why not? It would be too long. What do you mean by that? Perla thinks it is correct. By correct, do I mean like, is it written correctly? Did they write everything in the correct place? Yeah. What's the only one that matters where you put it?
The hypotenuse.
Hypotenuse, right? So if I kind of shorten it a little bit, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. As long as this is the hypotenuse, you're good. You could write it a squared plus b squared equals c squared, or you could write it b squared plus a squared equals c squared. But that's, as long as c is in the right place, you're good. And this one is, so this is true. So I'm not going to circle it. Any questions on B? Okay. C. ABC is similar to ACD, which is similar to CBD. So they broke down the triangle. We've got the big triangle. We got the big triangle. And we just want to make sure that things are written in the correct order. So this is ABC. They're telling us that it is similar to ACD. ACD. There it is. A, C, D. And they're saying that that is similar to a CBD. C, B, D. Do they have it in the correct order? So let's look at ABC. In ABC, which one is the right angle? Which one's the right angle? Angle C, good. Angle C is the right angle. Which one's the smallest angle between A and B? Good, B is the small. So it goes medium angle, smallest angle, and then right angle. So now let's look at ACD. If I look at triangle ACD, do they have that in the same order? So which one's the right angle? D. Which one's the smallest angle? C. Medium. So far that one's correct. What about triangle CBD? Which one's the right angle? B. No, it's not. I wrote it wrong. Sorry. This is D, and that's B. Okay. Which one's the right angle? D. Which one's the smallest angle? B. And then the medium angle. So they did write it in the same order for all three. So this is true. So am I circling it? No. Questions on that one? Okay, last one. CD is the perpendicular bisector of AB. True or false? Okay, Janelle says no. Or was that for something else? That was for something else. Okay. CD is the perpendicular bisector of AB. Does it fit the criteria? What does perpendicular bisector do? Cuts something in half. So what does it have to cut in half? Which line segment? AB. Did it do that? So Tyrone, you're telling me that AD is congruent to DB? No, no, no. So is it the perpendicular bisector? No. So is A and D. It's not the perpendicular bisector, but does anybody remember what it is? We did cover this. It might be somewhere in your notes. Yeah, no, it's not the angle bisector because angle C was not cut in half either. Okay, it's not the perpendicular bisector. is the altitude. It's the altitude of AB. Because if you kind of flip it over, that would be the height. If this is the base of the triangle, then this would be the height of the triangle. So that's why we call it the altitude. So A and D were both incorrect. Do I have any questions? Look through them, make sure you understand. Okay. All right, moving on. Here we go. Mr. Hernandez dilates the triangle shown below by a scale factor of 2 with the origin as the center to obtain A prime, B prime, C prime. Which of the following is true? Select all that apply. Here we go. Here's another poll. Hold on, let me put the right one. Okay. By the way, let me show you again. On the previous problem, these were the results you guys gave me. So I hope we all learned something. Okay, here's this one. Go ahead, take about 2 minutes to get your answers in. And it is select all. So if you only put, I see somebody only put one answer choice. That's wrong. One more minute. Okay, 10, 9, 8. I'm still waiting on 4 responses. If you have not responded, you need to do so in 5, in 4, in 3, 2, and 1. Who did not respond? Who did not respond? I'm still missing 2 votes. Rios, did you respond? Samaj, did you respond? Daniel, Jalen.
I responded.
Okay. You need to make sure that you respond. I don't care if you don't know the answer, I need to know that. And how would I know what you're thinking in your head if you don't respond? So do you understand why it's important to do so? As a teacher, I need to know what my students are thinking. It's completely anonymous. So a wrong answer is better than a blank answer. And I've been saying this over and over. I don't know why I need to say this every single time. Here are my responses. So A and C were really popular, so was B. So let's take a look. When you dilate a figure, so it's saying that it's dilated with a scale factor of 2. So this is not exact, but I know that it's going to get larger. Maybe something like this. Try to make that parallel, something like that. Now, when that happens, will the value of the trig functions change at all?
No.
No. Because do the angle measurements change at all?
No.
No, right?
The
So
sides do, but not the angles.
exactly, Daniel. So what that means is that the sine of A is equal to the sine of A prime. The sine of B is this, or the cosine of A will be the same as the cosine of A prime, and so on. So those do not change at all. So now let's go through. So clearly the two winning answers, well, no, one of the winning answers was A. And A is definitely true because, again, these things do not change. Now, B was also very popular. But does that make any sense? Would the sine of A be the same as the cosine of A prime?
No.
No, remember, those angles don't change. So let's pretend that A was 30 degrees. The sine of 30 degrees is not going to be the same as the cosine of 30 degrees. Those are two different functions, so you cannot make them equal to each other. So B does not make any sense. Okay, C was another popular answer, and that is correct. Now, can anybody explain why this is true? Why is that true?
Because since one of the angles is a 90, you need two 45s to make it 180.
So in other words, what type of angles are these to each other? There's a vocab word for that.
I forgot the word.
Complementary, good. Oh, you're right, that's a C. Those are complementary angles. They add up to 90 degrees. So that's why
Okay.
that is true. Well, if sine of A is equal to the cosine of C, then the sine of A will also be congruent to the cosine of C prime, since C and C prime are the same. So D is also correct. And I believe that is it. That is it. There's no rule about tangent being equal. So E and F are wrong. So it's A, C, and D. Any questions on this one? Who got all three? I know a couple people did. Who got all three? Perla? Good job. All right, any other questions? All right. Here's another true false. Which of the following is true? Is true. Here we go. And again, even if you don't know the answer, I need you to put something down because a wrong answer is better for me than a blank answer. I'm going to switch the poll. This is not select all, so I'm going to switch it to the normal poll. Okay, go ahead.
Miss, you shared the results, not the poll.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's weird. That's not what I have on my screen. How about now? Oh, wait, no.
Same thing.
Oh, there we go. I got it now.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I've got 4 votes in. I'm waiting on 4 more. Good, I have 7 answers in. So if you haven't answered it, again, if you don't know, guess. I prefer that. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, the winning response was D. Let's check it out. Okay,
It's D. It's the only one that makes sense.
that's true. D is correct. D is correct. But I do want to check it out. Now, there's 2 ways that you can set up a proportion in this example. What I'm going to show you guys is what those 2 ways are, and then we'll check the answer choices and see why each of those is wrong. So in the first, I'm just going to like label these differently. So A, B, C, and D. And then I'm going to call this big one X, and this big one Y, just because it's easier to kind of label it that way. So there's only 2 ways to do this. You can do A over X equals C over Y. Now, when I say there's only 2 ways, really, you can also flip these around. So this can also be written this way, X over A and Y over C, as long as you keep things consistent. So just keep that in mind. So that's one way to do it. Or the other way you can set up your proportion would be A over B and C over D. And those are and again, with that one, you could also flip them, but as long as you flip both, that's the only way you can do it. That's the only way you can do it. So what do they do in A? If you use my letters, what did they do here?
They did A over C is equal to
Hold on, what's UW? Oh yeah, C, you're right. A over C.
D over B.
D over B. What's wrong with that one?
Wouldn't it have to be like A over B is equal to C over D?
Yeah, they flipped them all over the place. So
Yeah.
yeah, so this one they were going, it looks like they were going for this proportion, but they did it all out of order. They did it all out of order, so that wouldn't really work. So that's just straight up wrong. B, what did they do here? D over A, and then B over C. So again, what happened here? It's kind of all out of order, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the only way to get this to be correct would be if you switched these around. If you switched the B and the D, then it would be right. But they got it out of order. So again, not correct. So this one's out as well. C. What did they attempt to do here? So Vx and UW. So this would be, remember, because I labeled the long section, that would be X. So Vx plus UW, that's X over so this is X over B is equal to Y over C. So if they wanted to do it this way, what should they change that B into? An A. Yeah, that should be an A if you want it to be correct. So again, that's out. So the only one that worked was this one. This one would be X over A equals Y over C. It's the only one that had it all in order. So do I have questions on this one? You guys did pretty well on it. Just remember that the most important thing with these proportions is that things match up. You can't mix and match all around. So I'm kind of color coding this to make it a little bit more obvious. But as long as you keep blue and blue on the same level, and then orange and orange on the same level, or purple and purple on the same level, you're good. So like I said before, you could have flipped them around. You could do like what they did actually. So they had blue on the bottom and purple on top. You could still do that, but you can't mix and match colors. So that's why here this was wrong, because they did B and then C. So these colors are actually really helpful for me right now to visualize it. So they mix the colors up in this example. In A, what did they did A over C and then D over B, but they had it in the wrong order. So if they had done B over D, that would actually be correct. And then here they had D over A and then B, oops, B over C, but again, they just did it all in the wrong order. So we just got to be very careful. So questions? Any final questions on this one? All right, cool. Moving on. Okay, line segments. So I definitely wanted to practice this because we did it a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and it's been a while, so time to review this. So given point 4, A is 3, -4, and B is 8, 6. What are the coordinates that partitions AB into the ratio of 3 to 2? 3 to 2. Okay, first step. Let's remind ourselves, how do we do this? Okay, so Perla says 3/5. Good. This ratio becomes 3/5. Where do we get 5 from?
Adding both of them together.
Adding both of them together. Okay, so that's our ratio. Now what do I do? So I got the ratio. Now what do I have to do? y2 minus y1. What's that called again? And x2 over x1. That's the slope, but we're going to break down the slope into the blank over blank. What is the blanks? No, it's not slope-intercept form. We're doing the rise and the run. So the rise, that's y2 minus y1. So what would that be? $10. So 6 minus -4. That's 10. Then we get the run. So that's x2 minus x1. So we got 8 minus 3. So we got 5. So that's the second step. Second step, find the rise, find the run. What do I do with those two numbers now? Good, we multiply them by that fraction. So this is 3/5 times 10, and this is 3/5 times 5. What do we get?
So for the first one, you get 30/5, which is 6. The
Mhm.
second one, you get 9. Oh, no,
15.
15/5, which is 3.
15.
And divided by 5, you get
3.
3. Okay, we're almost there. One last step. What do I do with those two numbers now?
Simplify by 2.
Nope. Be careful. It feels like you want to do that, but you don't want to do them. We add them to our point A. So remember, 6 was the rise. So what do we add this to? The x value or the y value? Good. Add to the y value of A. And then this one, we're going to add that to the x value of A. Okay, so A was 3 comma -4, but then we're going to add, so it's going to be 3 plus 3, and then -4 plus 6. So what do I get for point F? 6 comma 2. Good. So I know, because usually when we do rise over run, you're gonna, if you want to simplify it, because if you're finding the slope, then that would be the right thing to do. You would want to simplify it. But that's not what we're doing. All we're doing is then we take those numbers that we get and we add them to the first point that we started from. So F is 6 comma 2. So a little bit of a review. It's been a little while. How do we feel about this? Do I have any questions? Okay, I'm gonna do another one. I wanted to really get some practice. Given, okay, so we got point P and point Q, and we're looking for point F, which is 2/3 of the distance. 2/3. Do I need to convert that into a fraction, or is it already a fraction? It's already a fraction. So the number I'll be multiplying by is 2/3. So I want everybody to now try this on their own. Try it on your own. Take about 4 minutes. I'll do it as well. Okay, take about a minute more. And yes, there will be a fraction. So whatever you get, I want you to keep it as a fraction. All right, 30 seconds. I'll start setting up. All right. What is my rise? What am I calculating to get my rise? Five minus -1. So that's 6. How about my run? 2 minus -8. So that's 10. What do I do to my 6 and my 10? Nope, not yet. Not gonna add it quite yet. Oh yeah, I wanna multiply it times 2/3 first. We're gonna multiply it. So 2/3 times 6 and 2/3 times 10. What is 2/3 times 6? 4, good. 6 times 2 is 12. 12 divided by 3 gives me 4. So I get 4. What about 2/3 times 10? Good, we keep that as a fraction because 10 times 2 is 20 and 20 divided by 3, we're just gonna keep that as 20 over 3, 20/3. Questions on that so far? Thank you, Perla. Thank you, Janelle's, but I want to hear from everyone else. Tyrone, Jalen, Rios, Emily, how are we feeling up to this point? Samaj and Daniel, how do we feel? Any questions? Okay. Well, now we can do what Janelle said before. Now I'm going to add these to point P. So P was -8, -1. Which number am I adding to the -8? Which of those two numbers am I adding to the -8? Good. Remember, we add this one to the X. And then the 4 gets added to the Y. So then I'm going to do comma -1 plus 4.
So that would be -8 plus 20 over 3 plus 3.
Comma 3. Yeah.
But then we gotta simplify the 20 over 3.
Yeah. So how do I add this? How do I add a number, any number, time plus another fraction? What has to be the same? They have to have the same what?
Denominator.
Denominator. So how do I turn 20, or how do I turn 8 into something over 3?
First you have to give it a denominator of 1, and then you have to multiply the numerator, which is 8, by 3.
Perfect. So what do I get?
27 over 3.
27?
27.
What's 3 times 8?
No. 24.
24.
There
we go.
77.
So we're this is negative 24 plus 20. What do I get? It's negative 24 plus 20. Good, Emily. Negative 4. So I end up with negative 4 over 3. That is my final answer. Negative 4 over 3, comma 3. So just adding and subtracting fractions is not going away. It never has and it never will. Do I have any questions on that? Questions. There's a lot of silence coming from Tyrone. Jalen has been in the chat. Rios has been in the chat. Janelle's has been in the chat. But Tyrone and Samaj, I haven't heard too much from y'all. How do we feel? Okay. All right. Any questions? Any remaining questions?
E.
No? Yes? No. Okay.
E.
E, okay. One last one, but this one's a little bit different. What are the coordinates of point C located on, okay, so the line segment is AC, but we don't know C. But we do know B. And it's telling us the ratio. So this one's kind of like, we're going to work backwards a little bit because what we're looking for, we know A, and we know that B is splitting this into a ratio of 1 to 3. So B is like probably over here somewhere. And we know A is 2 comma negative 1. We don't know C, but we do know B. Okay, so this is what we're working with. It's a little bit backwards because usually we do know C, but we're looking for B, right? So it's a little bit backwards, but we're going to treat it kind of similarly. So what is my ratio? Or what is my fraction? If this is the ratio, what's the fraction? Good, 1/4. So the fraction is 1/4. Now, usually, where do we start? What do we usually find first? Usually we find the rise and the run. But we can't really do that, right? Because we don't know the value of C. So we don't know the rise. We can't find the rise and we can't find the run. Right? So for now, let's just call these, let's call it X and let's call it Y. Call that X.
So
Call that Y. Now, usually what do we do next? Usually what would I do with these numbers? Perla has an idea. Okay, what's your idea?
This is probably what we're gonna end up doing. But I was thinking we can find like the measure of like the space between A and B, right? And since that's 1/4, we can multiply whatever we get times 3 to get the other 3/4, and then just add it to B.
You're really, really close. You're super close. I just want to make sure we understand what you're going to end up multiplying. Okay, but you're on the right track completely, because usually what happens here, like when you do know the rise and you do know the run, what do? Times the fraction, right? Well, we don't know the rise and we don't know the run, but I'm still going to write that down because whatever it is, we would multiply it times 1/4. So this would be 1/4 X and 1/4 Y, right? And then that would lead us to the new rise and the new run. Well, that's what we can find. We can find the new rise and the new run. So let me do that over here. New rise between A and B. Thank you. Okay. The new rise between A and B, what would it be?
3.
3, right?
Minus -1.
That would be 3. So the new rise is 3. And what's the new run?
Four minus 2.
So 4 minus 2, which is 2. Okay. Well, now I can actually figure out the value of x and the value of y because I know that 1/4 times x is 3. And I know that 1/4 times y is 2. So what do I get for x? Or if I'm solving for x, what do I do to both sides? How do I get rid of a fraction? I multiply by its denominator. So I'm just multiplying both sides times 4. Just times 4 on both sides. Crosses out the fraction. So I'm left with x equals 12. And y equals 8. How did I get 3? What's 2 minus -1? So now I have my x and my y. Now I know my rise and I know my run. So based on that, I can find c because now I can add those numbers to the x and the y value of a. So let me just move this up a little bit. Okay, let me circle this all nice. Okay, so x is the rise, so the rise is 12. Y is the run, which is 8. So now I go ahead and I get a is 2 comma -1. What number am I adding to the 2? 12. Oh, be careful. I named my rise x, so don't get confused by Miss Lopez. I just named it x and y because I just felt like it. So I picked those letters randomly, but the rise gets added to which value? I should rename them. Sorry, that was confusing. Okay, I'm gonna name this one y. I'm gonna call this one x, just so that we don't get too confused. If you have it already written down, that's fine. I'm just renaming them because I see where the confusion is coming from. Okay. There we go. That should make a little more sense. So what am I adding the 12 to? The y value. And then the x, I'm going to add it to the x value. Okay, so it's 2 plus 8. And then it's comma -1 plus 12. So where is c? (10, 11). Good. So it's similar. It's kind of similar. The strategy is kind of similar. The last step is exactly the same, but we had to work backwards to figure out the original rise and the original run, because we know the new rise and the new run but then you got to work backwards to find the old rise and the old run. So that's what's a little bit tricky about this one. Now, take a look at it, ask me questions, but most importantly, write this all down. It was confusing, I know. But it's the same, it's pretty much the same amount of work as these problems. The only difference is that here you multiplied it by the fraction. Here we kind of had to like solve for y and solve for x. So we actually multiplied by the reciprocal of the fraction instead. Okay, any remaining questions? Okay, we only have 10 minutes left. Oops, we're about only like halfway through. But these are more, I feel like since a lot of you guys feel good about trigonometry, I'm glad we're going over these questions. Okay, here's one. Rosa graphs the line y equals 3x plus 5. She dilates the line by a factor of 1/5 with 0,7 as the center of dilation. Which statement best describes the results? So let's remember the rule because we learned this last time. If the center of dilation is located on the line, the resulting image will be what?
On the line.
It'll be the same exact line.
Miss, how do you remember this word by word?
Because I made it up.
Oh.
They write it similarly in the textbook, but I wrote it this way because I like it this way better. But it says the same thing. So if the center of dilation is located on the line, the image will be the same line. It will not change the line. What if the center of dilation is not on the line? What type of line will you get?
Parallel.
Good. If the center of dilation is not on the line, the resulting image will be parallel. Okay, how do you check if a coordinate point is on the line? How do I check if 0,7 is on this line?
By plugging it in.
Plugging it in, good. So I'm plugging in 7 for y and 0 for x. And then you just see if the answer is true or false. What's 3 times 0?
0.
Does 7 equal 5? No. So it's not on the line. So let's check the answers. What's it going to be? They're going to be parallel, so what has to be true?
They have the same slope. So C is out.
Mm-hmm.
So that means it's B.
So that means it's B, yeah. Because the original line had a slope of 3. So the new line should also have a slope of 3. So it's B. Questions on this one? If you don't have these two rules written down, write them down now, because this is going to save your life on a couple of those. This should be a pretty easy question at the end of the day if you remember that rule. Any questions on this one? Okay. One more, very similar. Actually, no, this one makes it too much. more difficult, but I'm going to skip it because I feel like you guys understand it. Okay, let me do at least one of these. Here's one. Okay, CD is 24 units. CD prime is the image under a dilation with a scale factor of n. Fill in the blanks below. So it's giving us different options for n, and then you have to tell me what CD is going to measure. So what do we always do? If we know the original and we know the scale factor, what do I do to find the new length? If my original is 24 and my scale factor is 2, what do I do? What's my new? The scale factor is 2. Yeah, we just multiply times 2, right? So this would be 48. So all we're doing straight down is multiplying by that number. So when n equals 2, that's 2 times 24, that's 48. Simple.
Miss, I hadn't read that. I thought we were looking for a way to find n. Oh my
No, they
gosh.
gave us n. You got to find everything else.
I was
So
confused.
if n is 3 halves, what's 3 halves times 24? Good, 36. If n is 4, what's 4 times 24? 96. If n is 8, what's 8 times 24? Janelle's is out here with her calculator. If n is 3/4, 3/4 times 24.
Ms. Lopez, how many questions are on the test?
12 to 15 each day, so like 30 total.
Oh, okay.
And yes, this is 18. Any questions on this? This should be pretty simple. Just remember that the scale factor is what you multiply by.
If we get questions on this, like I just mixed up my word. If we get questions like this on the test, will we have a calculator or is it hand math?
I have a feeling that this question would be by hand.
Okay, easy peasy.
So you'll get the answer, just it'll take you a little bit longer. Okay, I want to do one more. Last one, because this ties together a few different things. Find the length of DC. So I'm looking for DC and I have a couple of other pieces of information. So here's what I want to make sure that we understand. Okay, so triangles are similar. But if I'm writing A, B, C, how would I write the other half of this statement?
BDC.
BDC. So be careful with that. BDC. Okay, so triangle ABC is similar to BDC. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to redraw these triangles and make them face the same way because it's just easier to see it that way. So here's A, B, C. And then, like we said, ABC is similar to BDC. So this is B, D, and C. And we know that AC is 60, and we know that BC is 40. So here's 60, here's 40, and we're looking for DC, which is X. What's the ratio that I can set up, the proportion?
Can we do big over small?
You can do big over small or small over big.
Okay, 60 over 40 is equal to 40 over, okay, X. I wanted to do that the other way, never mind.
That's okay. Either way works. So what happens? What do I end up?
Oh wait, I forgot we cross multiply.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 60x equals 1600.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I got that.
And we divide by 60 on both sides. See what you get.
I think I did something wrong.
160 divided by 6,
Oh, there we go. 26.66.
26.66 or 67. So that's what we get for this one. So when you set up your proportion, or on any question where there's like one triangle inside another triangle, or like they're facing different ways, one very helpful strategy is to redraw them so that they're facing the same way, so that you can visually see which sides are corresponding sides and which sides are not. So we obviously missed a few questions, and I definitely want you guys to practice these 3 or 4 that we didn't do. So I'm going to post them later on Teams. I need someone to remind me if I don't do it by the end of school today. Just remind me to post them on Teams so that you guys can practice, and I'll also post the answer key so you can check your answers. Sound good?
Okay.
All right,
I'll
everybody.
try to remember.
Yeah, try to remember. I'll try to get it in by like 5 p.m. We'll see. All right. So good job today. Remember to study tonight, rewatch the videos, study your notes, make sure that you feel good about everything that we did today. Good job, guys. Have a nice night.
Bye, Miss.
Bye.